G'day guys and welcome to my second video on the channel. This week we're doing our postcom of the week 1 Indigo game. If you didn't see our draft breakdown, that went up last Friday, if I'm remembering correctly. Go check that out. If not, moving on, we're playing Ryan this week and his Twinleaf Typhlosions. As you can see, I've got the 6 on the layout that he's going to bring. That's a very scary mon. Very serious set of mons. I can't speak today. And I went into this week kind of blind. A bit of a disclaimer. My previous 2 leagues to this one were both Little Cup leagues. So this is sort of the welcome back to your main sort of style leagues. So I was fairly rusty. And that showed a little bit in the building here. We'll get into what I'm bringing in just a sec. But I didn't know really any of the Indigo players going into this. I knew Harry, which is one of my good friends who invited me into the APA. And that's about it. So going into this, I didn't really know what to expect, what level of play. And it turns out later that I've got probably the toughest opponent week 1 when I'm nice and rusty. Good fun. But getting into it now, we're going to take a look at what I'm bringing. First one is Pearl RyanTyph. Looking at his team, this was really needed to check that Garchomp. Garchomp kind of came in and just clicked buttons against us, and so Typhlosion is here to kind of check that. We've got Dual Stabs, which hit really nicely across his team. Hits everything for neutral except that Roserade, which I kind of under prep for, but then again, like Roserade, you're never staying in with a Finny. Just max HP, max defense, 4 in special attack to give those moves a little bit more of a punch. We've got the leftovers for a bit of longevity. And we've also got Haze in case that Garchomp or the Bishop wants to try and set up an SD, or that Suicune goes full Carmine sub garbage against us. And then we've got Defog to get rid of the potential spikes, toxic spikes, stealth rocks that this team has access to. Moving on next, we've got Reginald Licky, and he is a Spadef, sort of throw wishes around, throw some heal bells, and just like keep us all nice and healthy. He's the butler of the team. And so we've got max HP, max Spadef. This is my Thunder answer. It's my pseudo check to Roserade. And then in case he brings like some crazy offensive Suicune and a couple other mons that he had in the back. So we got leftovers. We've got Oblivious, so we can't be taunted by the Thunderous. So we can still get those wishes, those protects off, those heal bells. We've got Return, because that hits everything on his team that I'd be staying in against neutrally, except that Bishop. But again, I'm not staying in on Bishop. That thing's scary. Leftovers, and then just max HP, max Spadef to take those hits a little bit better. And this also helps with our Finny. You know, throw a wish to that thing if it's getting low. Try and switch in, get up to nice and healthy, if I can speak today. And try and check these mons for a little bit longer. Moving on, our third mon is Bowing the Megaladi. I've got the standard 3 attacks, Roost set, Psyshock, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Psyshock for a nice stab. It hits that Roserade, just in case like he wants to go full Spadef, Suicune to try and check this thing. We got Bolt Beam, which hits his whole team really nicely, super effective on the Garchomp. Super effective on the Roserade again, the Hippo, the Suicune, and then Thunderbolt is neutral. Well, Ice Beam is super effective on the Thunderous, and then Thunderbolt's neutral on that Bishop. But again, like Bishop, knockoff, you can see a theme that kind of just goes ham on my team. Enough speed, outspeed, whatever we can, which I think was the Garchomp on this team. Max special attack, and then just throw the rest into HP to try and live a bit longer. Moving on, we got Muck now as a third member of the team. He's got the standard Curse Recycle set. We've got max HP, max attack because I didn't really see myself getting a curse off or getting too many curses off to where I could sweep this game. Get the Arguave Berry with Gluttony, so you know, Super Berry Recycle sort of shenanigans. So yeah, max HP adamant to like hit as hard because I with 2 ground types, I didn't foresee myself getting all that many chances to really set up and go for game. Looking back on it, this is probably the set that I'm not as happy with. Like, this was I've drafted Muck, it's a great mon, it's only got 1 weakness, let's set up and win the game, sort of thing, without really thinking. But it is what it is. Moving on, we got Galaxy at Torterra. This thing had a really nice matchup. Like, got leftovers for a bit of longevity, shell armor because like crits and getting hacks is a thing that happens a lot. And looking at his team, like, nothing really wants to switch into his dual stabs. Like, you got Stealth Rocks to just throw up some rocks. It'll hurt that Thundy, which rocks were actually very important for Thundy on some calcs because it was a very tough mon for me to break this week. But like Earthquake, it hits the Bishop, it hits the Rose Raid for neutral, and that thing's not the best physically defensive wise. And then Woodhammer hits that Suicune, hits that Hippowdon, hits a Garchomp for neutral, which Earthquake also does. And then Thundy, it's like it's not neutral against it, it's resisted, but it's max attack adamant Torterra with Woodhammer against something that's not the most bulky. So it'll still do a nice chunk. And then we got Asta here, Jirachi. It's Scarfrachi with U-turn, dual stab, and trick. U-turn, just to pivot around, like, we needed a bit of help with that this week, I think, because he's got a few things that can set up. He's got a couple of good switch-ins to this thing, like Fizdef Hippo just sort of comes in and can EQ if it doesn't get flinched to death. Enough speed to outspeed the Scarfers that we can. And then we got Trick there, cause hopefully aiming to trick maybe the Hippo, maybe the Suicune, just cripple a wall here. Even triggering the Bishop so that thing has to lock into one or the other. Like if it locks into knockoff, then Finny can come in and surf that thing away. Or if it locks into Iron Head, then Mutt can come in. Or Jirachi can stay in. And then dual stabs because it hits sort of nice. Like Zen Headbutt did most things. Iron Head was a nice middle ground play for a few flinches. You know, the Jirachi hacks sort of thing. But yeah, that's the team. Now we're going to jump over into the battle here, and we're sort of seeing this as I go. And so he leads Rose Raid. Apologies if you heard that music. I did. It was very loud. And he goes Sludge Bomb turn 1, and I know I can live 2, so I just fire off a big EQ. But you can see he gets that poison. And that poison really annoyed me because now I can't live a second one. And so I've got to switch out because Torterra, as we said, did so much this game. And that means he gets a free synthesis off. And so I'm in with Rachi. I've got Zen Headbutt. There's no way he stays in. So I'm going to click the U-turn, if I do believe correctly. Yes, the U-turn. And that does a nice chunk of damage. I can go into Galaxy. Unless this thing has Ice Beam, then, well, I mean, this is my Suicune answer. So if it has Ice Beam, well then, I'm kind of in a bad spot. I can get a synthesis up here, so that means I'm back at, like, nice 83%, very healthy, as he brings in the Thundy. And I go straight for the Woodhammer just to get some damage off, and he goes into Gallows his Garchomp, and that takes a big chunk. Now I'm at around half, and so I'm just like, I can take something from this, and I'm going to go for the Woodhammer again. And as you see, Thunderous comes in, and it takes half. But now I'm at 39%, so this Thundy, being as strong as it is, it can knock me out. I expected the HP Ice, but I switched Jirachi in to take that, and he launches a Black Hole Eclipse, which is the Z Dark Pulse, and now Rachi is gone. So out comes Muck, as sort of that natural bulk, can answer this thing, and I just go for a knockoff, thinking that's a decent move. The switch, and I get the Hippo on the switch. Getting rid of that leftovers, very big, very nice. And now out comes Finny, because this is my physically defensive wall. He goes for rocks, like EQ is not going to do much. I can hit him super effectively with Surf. And now I predict the Roserade to come in. So I go into Laddie as I get that prediction right. And so here I do believe that if I I was thinking about going for Psyshock, but then I thought Bishop could come in. He doesn't go Bishop as I Mega Evolve. He goes Suicune as I Ice Beam, and that does nothing. And so the Sandstorm's still going on. He's getting in leftovers. I'm like, I can Thunderbolt here and just see how much damage it does. Try and get a gauge on his set. As he goes for the Protect, because all Suicunes have Protect, because everyone knows that set. And I'm sitting here with Laddie at nice 76%. Thunderbolt does 45, which means I'm just going to miss out on the 2-hit KO as he throws a Toxic. And I'm like, Boeing can throw off some strong hits this game. It outspeeds a few things. So I'm like, I'm getting out of here because I can't really have that thing being toxic and warm down. I predict the Protect so that so that he could have a chance to live that Thunderbolt guaranteed. As I go into Licky, and I just click Heal Bell as he switches into Bishop. He probably doesn't want me having my leftovers. Like, Knockoff's a very good move versus me. But I stay in, I take 54%, that's a lot. I throw up a Wish. And I think I can live the next one but I go into Finny because I know I can definitely live the next knock there. As he goes into Thunderous, predicting that, and yeah, it doesn't end well for me. So I now got to go into Muck, as he's probably going to just launch a T-Bolt, but he knockoffs here, which is very interesting. Getting rid of my Argwolf Berry, which makes Muck kind of useless since I can't recycle. So Cursing Up's going to be pointless because these two ground types are going to pick me off. He goes into Hippo as I go into Torterra, trying to, wall this thing. I doubt he has Ice Fang because who preps that much for a tier 5? As it's my chance to get on my rocks. And he goes into Roserade, going to take a bit of sand damage, gonna get a bit of Black Sludge, I'm going to get a bit of leftovers, and I'm going to get out of here into Muck because, well, 1, Muck's kind of useless, and 2, Sludge Bomb's doing like 20%. So I can throw off some like fat knockoffs, fat poison jabs, as he goes for the Hidden Power Ground and just bops me. And I'm like, that's kind of shit, but oh well, Muck was pretty useless at this point. He didn't do a whole lot. And so it's not the end of the world. As I go into Laddie to revenge this thing, he goes into Moto, his Hippowdon. As I go for the Science Shock, this thing being very physically fat, it only takes 25%. So I then go for the Ice Beam to finish it off. And we have our first kill in the APA, and it is a Hippowdon. Which I was like, okay, we're getting on a roll here. And the adequately named Checkmate comes in. And Finny was my Bishop counter, and it still takes 22% to a resisted knockoff. But he is Life Orb, he's getting chipped down, and I'm like, I expected Iron Head, but he has Poison Jab, so now I'm at 11%. There's rocks on the field, and I get the special attack drop, which means Defiant goes off. And now this thing is a monster. So what you would think is like, oh, Finny got the special attack drop with Moonblast, that'd be great. I sent in Reginald to sack it off here so he dies to Life Orb, because I thought I had a better chance at winning with my other 2 mons. And so yeah, it's now a Latios and a Torterra against the world. It's a double down. I send in Laddie. He sends out the mon that checks it way too well. He goes for Dark Pulse, and now Laddie's dead. And it is I'm going to just pause it here. It is my tier 5 Torterra at 39%. Against 4 of his top tier mons in week 1 of the APA. Yeah, I couldn't obviously switch into Torterra because I couldn't risk taking 2 loads of damage from this Thunderous because then I would die, and I needed Torterra for like things like a Scarf Chomp or like Suicune, basically. So yeah, I was kind of forced into this situation. So we'll watch this play out from here. He goes for a Dark Pulse. He doesn't have the Hidden Power Ice, which was big, so I can get a Synthesis off. And now I'm at 70%. He goes for a Knockoff to try and get rid of my leftovers. Smart move, get rid of my recovery. But now I'm at 99%. I'm like, right. Torterra against the world. He goes for Dark Pulse, takes me down to 75, as I go for a Wood Hammer to finish him off. Yeah, that gives me 5% recoil, but it's the only thing I could have done, so 70% Torterra as Garchomp comes in. And Garchomp is going to lock himself in the Outrage. I wasn't sure what he was going to go for, so I'm like, I'm going to go for Synthesis. And as you can see here, I'm going to pause. And what I should have done there is he's locked into Outrage, and he's going to get 2 or 3 of them, and they're doing... The first one did 51, and I was at 70. So even if you got like 3 lots of that, I got... We'll take a look here. I've got 4 Synthesis left. I should have Synthesis stalled him here to get the confusion from Outrage, and hope that he hits himself while I'm at a nice amount of HP, and be able to knock him out then with a wood hammer, because if he hits himself, then he's going to go down to 25% maybe at least, and then wood hammer's going to take less recoil, and I'm at a healthy spot to be able to deal with this Suicune and this Roserade. But no, you're about to see what I did here, and I just went for Earthquake to get the kill. I'm like, I can't win, I'll go for Differential. But I had a chance, and that was probably my biggest misplay of the battle. I'll put that down to me being a bit rusty, being a bit newish to the format. But as you can see, we lose 2-0. I don't know why Thunderous is still on the layout, but it is. So that was our game against Ryan. Obviously, like, some positives, some negatives from it for my first game back. Torterra as a tier 5 did work. It took out Thunderous, and it took out a Garchomp. Like, both of those, like, holy shit, why are you taking out a tier 1, 2 tier 1 mons as a tier 5? But yeah, so that was my week 1 game. As always, if there's anything I can do to improve these commentaries, yes, sorry, we're there in post-com for the first 9-10 weeks of this season, because I am behind. If there's anything I can do to improve, then let me know down below. But otherwise, I will be back in the next few days with our week 2 battle. Until next time, see you later.